I want to get you out the door with every result from every league in under 15 minutes, so that you're more informed about what's going on in the world of sports.
Hey TJ, what's going on? I'm Chandler and this is Tiger Beat Sports.
Hey everybody, I'm Chandler Sports and this is the Sport Report.
And I'm Chandler and this is Tiger Beat Sports. Welcome to a special edition of this all-crazy sports newscast.
Broadcasting from somewhere in the United States.
Hit it, Blaze.
This is the Sport Report.
Friday, June 7th, 2019.
Hey everybody, I'm Chandler with Sports, and this is the Sport Report. It's time to get you caught up on what's happening in the world of sports. This is Top of the Order.
In a year that has been so improbable, the impossible has happened.
This is Top of the Order.
Our top story comes from Boston at the TD Garden, where the St. Louis Blues defeated the Boston Bruins 2-1 to take a 3-2 series lead in the Stanley Cup Final. While the Bruins weren't playing their best hockey on the night, there is one call that is going to stand out, and it is made by the NHL's officials, the referees in the game. Let's rewind. For those of you who have not been following the NHL playoffs, the referees have been to blame for teams moving on to the next round. In the Western Conference quarterfinals, the Vegas Golden Knights were eliminated by the San Jose Sharks after the Sharks, who trailed 3-0, got an unwarranted 5-minute major. Why is it unwarranted? Not in our words, in the NHL's words. Those two officials that made the call were not carried over to the next round. Beside the point. It was a bad call. 5-minute major ensued. Sharks score 4 goals, take the lead, go to overtime. Sharks win in overtime against Vegas, eliminating Vegas. That was Game 7 of the Western Conference quarterfinals. In the Western Conference semifinals, the referees declared that Colorado Avalanche were offside on a goal that they had scored when, believe it or not, there is no concrete footage showing that the Avalanche were offside, nor a clear picture to prove that they were offside, except a skate which appears to be on the blue line, but it is more grainy than the camera on the original iPhone. So realistically, you can't determine if it was offsides. In the next round, they missed a hand pass by the San Jose Sharks, which won them Game 3 in the Western Conference Finals against the St. Louis Blues. Blues go on to win 3 in a row to make the Stanley Cup Final. And then last night, the Bruins, who trailed 1-0 in the game at the time, were trying to clear the puck when Noel Acciari was tripped. Well, everybody in the building believed he was tripped. Those on TV believed he was tripped. Cam Neely, the Boston Bruins team president, chucked a water bottle at the wall in his suite. It was a trip. You know what? We're trying to be neutral here, but we're trying to say that the refs screwed up. It was a trip beyond any of your wildest imaginations. It was a trip. But the trip was not called on Tyler Bozak for tripping Acciari. And guess what happened next? David Perron, about 10-15 seconds later, I'm looking at my producer to make sure we're getting the timeline right here, about 10 to 15 seconds later, scores. And guess what? That proves to be the game-winning goal in the third period. So the refs cost the Bruins Game 5, you could say. Now, there are hundreds of judgment calls, and the NHL won't comment on this one because they don't want to comment on this one. They don't have to necessarily. But this is a black eye, as Bruce Cassidy put it. The NHL officiating has been absolutely terrible, and now we're starting to delve into opinions, so we're going to leave it there. The referees will be the talking point of Game 5 if the Blues win the Stanley Cup on Sunday night in St. Louis, and if not, they might be a talking point in Game 7. One of the NHL's best referees, Wes McCauley, who's one of the most enthusiastic referees you'll ever see, is out for this series due to an injury he suffered in the Eastern Conference Finals. He's not here for this series. Now, would his call made a difference in this game? It's possible, but there is no definitive answer as to why the trip wasn't called, and if a different referee, if placed in that situation, would have called it differently. Oh, and one more side note, the referee was standing right in front of the play. So we had a clear line of sight of where the play was. We'll leave it at that. In the NBA Finals, Game 4 is tonight, not Saturday night as we stated a couple nights ago. It is tonight, 9 p.m. Eastern on ABC. In Game 3, one of the minority owners of the Warriors pushed and shoved Raptors player Kyle Lowry and also shouted an obscene phrase towards him. That minority owner was sitting courtside. He has been fined $500,000 and suspended from the NBA for an entire year. Kudos to the NBA for taking action on that. Racism does not belong in any way, shape, or form in anything in this world. Toronto leads the series 2-1. Kevin Durant will not return for Game 4, but Klay Thompson looks to be returning for the series at this point. Kevon Looney, who is thought to be out with a broken collarbone, could return later in the series, but that is doubtful at this point. For now, Kevin Durant will be on the bench for at least one more game. Klay Thompson returns, and will that help the Warriors? That remains to be seen. Game 4 tonight, 9 p.m. Eastern, ABC. Now to Major League Baseball.
Derek Jeter with one of the most unbelievable plays you will ever see by a shortstop. Ortiz into deep right field. Back is Sheffield. We'll see you later tonight.
Someday the Chicago Cubs are going to be in the World Series.
Now from Major League Baseball.
There were 13 games on the Major League Baseball slate. Will start at Citi Field in Flushing, New York, where the New York Mets defeated the San Francisco Giants 7-3. Mark Melancon got the win 2 nights ago. He takes the loss last night. The Mets scored 1 run in the 7th and 4 runs in the 8th. And when they hit 4 runs in the 8th, Todd Frazier hit his 5th home run of the season while dropping to one knee and only holding the bat with one hand at the end of his swing. He also rose about 2.5 feet into the air when he jumped into the air in celebration. The ball was probably not going to leave the park, but it ended up leaving the park, and with a 94.7 mile an hour exit velocity, which is not that hard of a ball to be hit off the bat, it left the park somehow, someway. The Mets win by 4. Pittsburgh Pirates 6, Atlanta Braves 1. Chris Archer is 3-5 on the season with a 5.20 ERA for the Pirates. Same scoreline in the Tampa Bay Detroit game, 6-1 Tampa over Detroit. Travis d'Arnaud hit 2 homers for the Rays as they take 2 out of 3 from Tigers at Comerica Park in Detroit. Jalen Beeks was in to relieve Ryan Stanek, who is classified as an opener rather than a closer. The Rays have been doing this for well over a year now, and it's kind of worked for them. Stanek was the opener. Beeks was the reliever to take the Rays to at least the 6th inning, and he did just that, pitching 4.1 innings, allowing no runs on 4 hits with 2 strikeouts. He's 5-0 on the season with a 2.76 ERA. St. Louis Cardinals 3, Cincinnati Reds 1. John Gant is 5-0 on the season with a 1.1 ERA. Paul DeJong hit his game-winning home run in the 7th inning for the Cardinals. Jordan Hicks gets his 12th save of the year for the Cardinals. Milwaukee Brewers 5, Miami Marlins 1. Christian Yelich is facing his old team, and Yelich was very productive at the plate, 3 for 4 on the afternoon with 2 RBIs to help the Brewers win by 4. In 14 innings, Houston Astros 8, Seattle Mariners 7, New York Yankees 6, Toronto Blue Jays 2. J.A. Happ was facing his old team, and he gets his 6th win of the year. He's 6-3 with a 4.48 ERA for the Yankees. Minnesota Twins 5, Cleveland Indians 4. Jose Berrios is 8-2 on the year with a 3.14 ERA for the Twins as they up their lead to 11.5 games over the Indians. Max Kepler hit 3 home runs, the 2nd time he's done that this season, the 8th time a Major League player has done that in this season. He joins Ted Williams as the only players in MLB history with multiple 3-homer games against the Cleveland Indians. Kepler had the other 3-homer game of his career, August 1st, 2016, also in Cleveland. He had 4 of Minnesota's 5 RBIs. Texas Rangers 4, Baltimore Orioles 3, Oakland Athletics 7, LA Angels 4, Colorado Rockies 3, Chicago Cubs 1. Jose Quintana falls to 4-5 on the season with a 3.77 ERA for the Cubbies. Scott Oberg gets his 3rd save of the year for the Rocks, who take 1 out of 3 from Wrigley. The Cubs will come to town to play the Rockies at Coors Field. Yay, altitude. Monday through Wednesday next week. San Diego Padres 5, Washington Nationals 4. Patrick Corbin falls to 5-4 with a 3.59 ERA for the Nationals. Joey Lucchese's 5-3 on the season, 4.21 ERA for the Padres. Finally, the Boston Red Sox get the sweep over the Kansas City Royals. They defeat them 7-5 in the final game of the series. Danny Duffy's now 3-3 on the season for the Royals. Colton Brewer gets his 1st win of the season for a Red Sox bullpen. Desperately needed a pitcher to step up, even if the offense wasn't producing a ton. But granted, the Red Sox scored 7 runs in this game, 4 in the top of the 3rd, 3 in the top of the 7th. Red Sox are now 4 games above 500, yet they still trail the New York Yankees by 6.5 games in the AL East. Tampa Bay trails the Yankees by a game and a half. One final note on sporting events later today. The Women's World Cup opens up later today. We'll have full results on that throughout the course of the Women's World Cup. There's also the Cricket World Cup occurring in the United Kingdom. We'll follow up on that as that tournament continues. That's the Sport Report for Friday, June 7th, 2019.
For now, I'm Chandler.
Thanks for tuning into the Sport Report today. We'll be back tomorrow with the latest in sports. Do you want to contact Chandler Sports or members of the Sport Report team? Visit sportreportcws.com.
This podcast is copyrighted by The Sport Report for viewers to understand sports from a news reporting basis. Any other use of this podcast, Sport Report logos, or anything associated with this podcast without the express written consent of Channel One Sports is strictly prohibited.